Warning, may cause extreme student engagement.
Welcome to the Digital Dish.
Your go-to podcast for all things tech and education. Welcome back.
Woohoo!
Another episode.
Welcome back to the Digital Dish.
Yes, the Digital Dish, your EdTech go-to podcast.
I'm Allie, the caffeine enthusiast and your EdTech coach.
And I'm Katie, a major consumer of vitamin D and director of EdTech at West Hill Central School District.
So, consumer of vitamin D?
Yeah, this weather, man.
Yeah.
I have to take copious amounts of vitamin D from like September to May, or I'm exhausted. Like I have mono. It feels like that.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it's okay. I'm getting old. There's no sun here.
That's true. We do live in upstate. That's not a lot of sun at all.
Yeah, if you're listening to us from outside of the Northeast, you may not understand, but we do not get much sun during the winter.
So we have to take like vitamins and extra all sorts of stuff just to make sure that we are awake during the day.
Yeah, and happy. So this podcast is for educators, and we're here to give you quick snippets of things that you could use in your daily educator life.
Or even inspire you if you want to try or dabble or anything like that. Time savers, and watch us do chaos or listen to us do chaos and do all sorts of stuff.
Yeah. Going back to your caffeine enthusiast, I noticed you brought a giant cup of whatever that is in there.
It's my second one today.
Is it really?
It is. I didn't sleep very well last night, and of course with Michael's I got home super late, so it's my second cup of coffee for the day so far at only 9:15.
That's okay. That's all right. I will probably have my second either coffee or tea after this.
I do like tea.
I'm on the chai black from Wegmans. It's just like a hint of sweetness, and it's got like spices in it. Nice and warm.
I like it.
Yeah.
I have a lot of tea at home and at my desk at Bosie's. It's hard to travel with tea bags.
Tea is easy to travel with. What are you talking about?
Well, if I want to make a cup of tea in the middle of the day, that's kind of hard.
Wow. All right.
All right, so our topic for today.
Yes.
Google Workspace updates and tips.
It is.
Lots of craziness.
We have a lot listed. So this might be a little bit of a longer episode, but there's tons of really good stuff.
Absolutely. So if anybody is like me and I have a ton going on and have a lot of tabs open at all times, so my computer at Bosie's actually has 3 different Chromes open with all sorts of different tabs. I do have to use the right click option in the tab, and you can do lots of different items to kind of help organize chaos.
Yeah. I have a tab group.
Nice.
So if you have several tabs open that are for like period 1 ELA 9, and then you have other tabs for period 2 ELA 10, you could group your tabs. These are tabs that I use a lot, actually. So I've grouped them by the Digital Dish, and I made them blue.
All right.
So all of the tabs that I have to open every time we do this are in a group, and they just automatically open when I click on the group.
I love it.
Yeah.
My favorite, honestly, is muting sites. Pinning and muting sites is my favorite, probably in the right click option.
Oh, what's pin do?
Pin goes from a longer tab option to a very tiny, but only can see the logo. So if my Gmail, it has the M for the Gmail. And it doesn't take up as much space.
And it goes to the front.
It goes to the front.
I just tried it.
And it doesn't close out if you accidentally X out your tabs.
That's cool. I like that. But it did remove my tab from the group, so I guess you can't pin and have it in the group. That makes sense.
Interesting, yeah.
I guess. Cool. I learned something new today.
All right.
What else?
So there's also some updates with templates and docs, other than the really boring and old ones that we have. So they revamped some of the templates, which is fantastic. And also they added some different chips, not the kind we eat, but if you want to add or tag somebody in there, there's a lot of really great right-click options. Or if you type the @ symbol and then start typing whatever, it will actually add a chip to, it's kind of like it creates it into a hyperdoc. Just a lot easier to handle.
Yeah, and it looks really nice. I did a PD a couple years ago when when the chips first came out, and it was called @ is where it's at.
Nice.
Yeah, I liked it. It was fun, but I have to update it because there's been so many new chips that have come out since.
Yeah, it's crazy with all the updates that have been happening in the last couple months. It's just been insane.
Yeah, it's a whirlwind, but exciting whirlwind.
Oh yeah, it's super exciting. And my last one for at least this morning is that there was an update for forms and how you can share them.
Oh yeah, I noticed that. What's up with that?
I didn't even see it come through, and then I was watching somebody else present on it, and I was like, oh yeah, huh. So instead of just the 2 options that we used to have to share with forms, there's more options to not only just share, but share within your district or public or anything like that, just like other Google items, and you can publish your form.
Yeah, I saw the publish button. I didn't understand, I guess, why I would use. Oh, you have to publish it.
You have to publish it in order to share it.
Yeah, that's strange.
I mean, I get it though with if we are still working on it, not quite ready, but we still accidentally send it out or something like that, with different quizzes or things like that. You have to publish it in order to make it a live link.
Yeah, I can see that, I guess.
Absolutely.
So sticking with the theme of Google Doc updates or tips, the things that one new thing was that you can add document tabs. So if you're familiar with using the document outline, it's always to the left, and you can easily navigate your document with the outline. But tabs allows you to separate your document into main topics or overarching topics. And so it separates them kind of think about a drawer with your folder holders, and then inside the folder holders are your manila folders. So you keep them together in that way. It's kind of like that. There's different folders in the same document.
Almost like folders in your drive, right?
Yeah, kind of, but it's all part of the same Google Doc. But then you can separate your Google Doc into main sections where you're only seeing one section at a time, I guess.
Awesome. So almost more like chapters in a book.
Yes, I would say more like chapters, and that's a really good analogy. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Struggling with that one.
Every once in a while.
In our show notes, we have one tab that says show notes. We have a sub tab that says bonus episodes, another tab that has all the brainstorms in it, and then another tab for some Instagram ideas. So it keeps it so that we don't have to scroll all the way through the document to find those things. They're just clickable things on the left, and it goes right to that section. It's kind of cool.
It is super crazy and cool, especially with the sub-tabs. When you added the sub-tab, I was like, whoa, what does that do?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And you can name your tabs too, so keep it all organized. And then in the same line, I guess, but a little bit different, document outlines. If you've ever used these, when you create headings and subheadings, there's a drop down in the formatting bar that usually says normal text. If you change your text to a heading, there's a title, subtitle, heading 1, heading 2. These are the options. Then, and you go to your view menu header up there, you turn on the document, or is it, where does it say show document outline? Did they move it?
Probably. Sounds about right.
It's somewhere. Anyway, once you show the document outline, you can use that to click into the headers. And if you have a large document, that's very helpful to navigate a very long document. So you've got, we have our episodes that are header 2, and we can, if we show the document outline, we can just click episode 3 to get right to episode 3. It's kind of like a bookmark.
Absolutely. That's a great way to put that.
Yeah. And then you can create your table of contents at the top too with that.
Which you can also link to go right to where you need to go.
Yeah.
I love it.
Little tips and tricks. And the other Google Doc thing that I've been loving, and maybe I need to set this as my default, is Pageless documents.
We were talking about that earlier.
Yeah. So it's like infinite page. It just keeps going. So you don't have those page breaks. This is great if you're not printing it. And if you're using the document outline, the document headers become collapsible regions. So then you don't have to look at the whole document and all of the text. You can collapse everything and only look at the section you want to look at.
Which is great, especially with the longer option.
Yeah. It's pretty neat. And then another tip I would have, custom building blocks. If you go to the insert menu and you go to building blocks or hover over table in building blocks, there's pre-made building blocks that you can use, and they're really nice. They come with like preset chips and things like that you can add to them. One's a task tracker, so if you're doing project-based learning and you want students to track all of the tasks that they have for their project, you can insert a building block and assign tasks to people and due dates and things like that. But you could also create your own building block, and if you have a rubric, you create that as a custom building block, and then you can just quickly insert it with the @ symbol on every student document.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I do love that you can now put stuff like this into like calendar invites. So if you have like a standing meeting, it will be there so that way you can know and remember what you were talking about in one meeting.
Yeah, and if you create a meeting building block in your Google Doc, you hit the @ symbol and you do meeting building block, and it'll ask you which meeting on your calendar to connect it to, and then it will connect the notes to.
And tag people.
It's pretty crazy. That is very helpful, especially if you are holding meetings often.
Like student council or anything along those lines. Like if you have like a classroom department heads, like that kind of thing.
Classroom meetings. Yep, for sure. And then, I know I keep going. I have so many things, Allie.
I know, there's a lot of updates this time. That's okay.
Yeah. So Gemini, the app, gemini.google.com, also has now gems. And we talked about Notebook LM last week. We love an good AI tool.
Absolutely.
Gems is very similar to a notebook, but you can't share it, unfortunately. But if you have resources that your teacher has given you, students can do this in our district, 13 and above, or whatever it may be. You have like a bunch of documents that are on the same topic, PDFs, Word, Google Docs, things like that. You put them into a gem, and then you can reuse that gem in Gemini to chat about that topic. So, interesting way to study maybe, or to synergize information.
Help with review topics for your students, like that sort of thing.
Yeah. So it's very similar to what you would see in Notebook LM, but it's the interface is a little bit different, and it's in Gemini, the chatbot. And then, last but not least, this is like the best thing ever. I am so excited. Is Google Vids. This came out this fall, and it's part of our Workspace Plus. I think you have to have Workspace Plus or Teaching and Learning to have Google Vids.
I think so.
Pretty sure. But in West Hill, we have Workspace Plus. So we have Google Vids, and it's built into Google Drive. So think WeVideo, kind of, or Canva Movies, but it's already in Google Drive. So when you go to your Google Drive and you click New, it's a file option. And you could use this for so many things, but I was talking to an English teacher, Marianne, at the high school. She used Google Vids without me even prompting or letting her, telling her about it. Had the kids creating podcasts on books that they read. They're free reading books with Google Vids. So you can do videos podcasting, screencast. You can record audio. You can upload audio. And has a ton of stock images, stock videos, stock stickers, GIFs. Like, there's so much content there. Music, background noise. What do you call the noise? The little tiny noises. The little tiny ones.
I'm not entirely sure.
Sound effects.
Yeah, there we go.
I knew it would come. It would come. It's awesome. And it's, again, it saves it like a Google Doc in your Google Drive. So you don't have to go outside of Google to create a really, really fantastic video. And there's so many nice templates, like professional looking templates.
And it's really super easy to use, even if you want to import like a slide deck or something along those lines. I was talking to Anissa, the librarian over here at Walberta, and we were talking about the end of year slideshow for all the students going up to Cherry Road. So we were kind of playing around with some of the pictures and how to import the slide deck into Google Vids.
Oh, that's a good tip. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I like it.
And you can use your own music too. You don't have to use.
Right.
Yep.
Right. Yeah. Cool. Well, that's it for the Google section of this episode.
Sorry, guys, this was super Google heavy, but it is the Google episode, so it totally makes sense.
It is the Google episode. It's my favorite episode.
Is that really the Google end of the Google stuff?
No.
Do we have one more?
Go ahead.
So there are a lot of security updates when it comes to Google for Education that some people might like and some people might not. However, that's okay. It's really just about the safety of our students, and it's affecting our students, not necessarily the educators on our side. So there are a lot of additional applications or services, additional services that Google uses that students no longer will have access to starting... Do you remember the date?
March
Did it already
1st,
get turned off?
I think in some districts we're turning it off early. But go ahead, keep going.
Say YouTube
Is an additional
one. Google Earth, Maps, things like that. Arts and Education, which I was very sad about. CS First. There's a huge list of additional services. Many of which I used in my classroom, which kind of stinks that, but good for teachers because the students won't necessarily be able to search for it. However, teachers can still assign it through Google Classroom. So you can still use a lot of it. It's just a matter of how you share it with your students.
Yeah, that's a good point. But why? Why do we have to do this?
So somebody was naughty and there was a massive security breach for a student, and then Google got lashed with a lawsuit. So they were like, don't want to do this again. So we're going to, strengthen the security measures on the student side. So in New York,
Well, why New York?
Because of EDLA.
I'm leading you.
Into our next topic because EDLA 2D. How's that?
Yeah. And then
I did not get that very not so subtle hint. It's okay. So EDLA 2D, love it or hate it, it happens. So it's just about the personable identifiable information, the PII. I did not say that right, but the PII.
Personally identifiable information.
That's it. That's a hard one for me. Information for our students, typically under 13, but I know that a lot of schools go 18 and under.
Yeah, well, we're bound by law in New York State to not interact with vendors who are going to sell student information who don't comply to the NIST framework, which is like a security framework, who don't train their employees in cybersecurity, et cetera, et cetera. There's a lot of different things that go into the contract.
Right.
So in order for our students to be able to sign into a website and quote unquote give their information away, we have to have a data privacy agreement or DPA. And at the state level, most of our stuff is covered that we use: Edpuzzle, Pair Assessment, Pair Deck, Google Workspace core services.
Some AI services
Yeah.
are covered. There's a lot of different things. Like the lists are huge between West Hills and the state levels.
Yeah. So we have a ton of tools that we can use. There's just those companies that refuse to protect our students' data we cannot use, and YouTube being one of them. And I know it's part of Google, so you think, oh, it's part of Google. But their terms of service for these extra things are different than the core, like Gmail, Google Drive, Google Classroom.
Yep. So when Google purchased YouTube, it was supposed to act as like a third-party entity type of situation, and then everybody kind of forgot about it. And so it's not necessarily about some of the content that's on YouTube. It's about the videos that they would be able to search and the comments, which are the big
data
ones.
mining.
And the data mining. So you can still use YouTube, and like Edpuzzle, you can still curate a lot of the YouTube videos for your students. It's just a matter of your students being able to search and use the website outside of Classroom.
Yeah, and I know that's going to be hard, especially at the high school level, because we're so used to letting kids go look for, you want to learn something, go look for a YouTube video.
Right.
That would be me, because I want my kids being didactic. I don't want to have to be the departer of the knowledge at all times. But it is to keep us in compliance with the law and our kids' information safe.
Right. And so that's, keeping our kids safe is really number one.
It is. It really is. It's hard. As a former teacher, I used to get so mad at the IT department when they said no about something. I'm laughing because now I'm the IT department saying no. I don't want to.
Right. Well, and I did teach little kids, like the kindergarten through sixth grade, so it was slightly different on that end. But my sixth graders, like, if you want to learn something, I don't know about it, let's look it up. I have no clue. But it was all about the safety and the education first. So they had to earn the right to search for YouTube kind of situation. Yeah. I was really mean. They love me anyway.
Same. I saw a former student on Sunday. She's all grown up, like 28 years old. I don't know. All grown up. It was cute.
That's nice.
Yeah. All right. Well, that concludes that portion of the episode. We ended with a down note. Darn it, Allie.
Sorry.
That's okay. Let's brighten the mood and talk about upcoming professional development.
So there are a couple of ones that I'm involved in March, which I'm super excited about. Everybody knows that I am a standing nerd, and I'm very proud of it. So there are 2 different sessions that Model Schools is holding specifically. One is called Igniting Creativity and Collaboration with Lego Spike, and that's on March 7th.
I love Spike.
Yep. It's awesome, and I'm super excited. Designed for K-12, like Legos in your classroom, like who would have thunk? And then also Coding Across the Curriculum Unplugged version on March 20th. I'm really excited.
What does that mean?
So I'm all about the balancing with screen time and not screen time, but still being able to get the concepts down. So when you are taking the concepts off the computer, that's called unplugged. So we are still going to be learning great things about coding and the concepts and, all the CS and the computer science and digital fluency standards, but all across the curriculum, unplugged style.
Cool. And I vaguely recall, and you probably could tell me better, in the New York State computer science and digital fluency standards, part of the strand for K-12, one of the strands is computational thinking.
Yes.
And so you can accomplish computational thinking without a computer in many grade levels.
Absolutely. And I think that if a lot of teachers, or when you're looking at the standards, like they're just meant to add to your education. Like it's not like a huge step. You're probably already doing a lot of the standards.
Yeah, for sure. All right. And then most of the region will have a March 31st Superintendent's Day for professional development. And in West Hill, we're doing it the same way we did it last time with lots of choice. So I'm offering, I think, 3 sessions, one on peer assessment for beginners, one on peer assessment, all the different item types, because there's a lot more than you know. Like, it's insane, Allie, it's insane. You can create a question where the kids have to label a map or draw on something and tag it to a standard, and then you grade it and you get all that data.
Love it.
It's cool. Anyway, I digress. And then I think I'm going to also offer another AI for educators or like AI in education, kind of like the beginner level.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's great. Oh, and we're going to be thinking about summer PD. I know it's weird because there's like a foot of snow on the ground right now.
Yeah.
But we're going to be thinking about topics for the summer sessions. So if anybody has any suggestions, please let us know.
Yeah. Oh, and the other thing I was thinking, if you're still listening, because how much time has it been? 24 minutes. This is a long
boy.
one.
Sorry,
if you're still
guys.
listening, I know. If you're still with us, what was I going to say about that?
Summer PD.
If you have done a project or have a project coming up, or you have done something that an activity, it doesn't have to do with computers. If you don't, any cool thing that you've done in your classroom and you want us to come and talk to you and the kids about it and put it on the podcast, like, we are all in 100% on the wagon, driving the wagon. We want in.
Yes,
Let us
100%.
know.
We love going into the classrooms. We're not scary.
I promise. Sometimes I am.
Okay, well, I'm not.
Chloe tells me I have short lady energy. So she used to go to West Hill High School, and I would wear these particular shoes, and she said she could hear me coming down the hall and get really nervous. Like, I'm just a normal person.
My old students would always be able to tell because my keys, the way that I walked, it would go like, they're like, oh, Miss G's coming down the hallway.
All right.
All right, so the next episode is
Yeah.
super special, right?
It is very special.
So we are actually going to be having some time with John
Coripo.
who's the author of Ed Protocols.
Or EDU protocols. I don't know which way you say it, but yeah, I'm very excited to talk to him, and I'm coming up with some really hard questions to ask.
And even if you guys have any questions for us to ask, please let us know.
Yeah, send us some questions. We're going to record in about 2 weeks, so if you have questions for the father of EDU protocols, shoot it to us. Let us know.
Yes. Sorry about the long episode, guys.
We should throw in some little things throughout the episode and do like a contest.
Absolutely.
Yeah, when you hear a bell ring, I don't know.
What couldn't I say this time?
Yeah. There's always something.
Always one thing or another.
Yeah.
But thanks, guys. Have a fantastic
Yeah.
break.
Have a good one.